that. Interesting.
I just didn't want to sit on the floor with the trunk this time.
I understand. Oh, I like this.
Hey, it's Alirien, and welcome to our tarot horoscope readings for the season of Midsummer for 2025. Midsummer is, of course, the summer solstice. It is officially the first day of the summer season, and with it we celebrate the pinnacle of the light and the warmth of the sun and all of the blessings that come with that. We are following the same format as we usually do by reading 3 cards plus the bottom of the deck from a Waite-Smith style tarot, in this case the Tales of the Mystical Cats tarot, and we are alongside that pulling 1 card from an oracle style deck, in this case the Gjallarhorn Norse oracle. I will have information about authors and such in the description for you. And as today, Litha itself is the first day of Cancer season, we will be beginning our readings with Cancer and ending with Gemini. Before we get into shuffling though, a little bit of housekeeping. If you enjoyed the video today and have not done so already, make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel and have your notifications turned on so you never miss a video. We're currently sitting just shy of 250 at the time of filming, and I'm really hoping I can reach 500 by the end of the year. I'd love if you would be part of that group of adventurers to be in the first 500 to follow the channel. Furthermore, if you enjoy the content of today's video, along with linking my playlist of all of my divination videos in the cards and the description, I do also offer personal tarot readings through my website, aliriencosplay.com, which you can find linked in the description through the link tree that is provided underneath all of my videos. All of that said, let's go ahead and shuffle the cards, and we'll start with Cancer. As you can see, I'm also trying a slightly new setup, so let me know in the comments if you prefer this one or how I normally am set up with my costume trunk. I just wanted to try something where I'm not sat on the floor. Cancer, you have drawn for the summer solstice Death, the Fire King inverted, Priestess inverted, and Sea Kitten. You have drawn 2 oracle cards, the rune Kenaz for control and the rune Perthro for destiny. This all sums up pretty nicely actually, Cancer. Death being the bottom card does indicate that really significant and inevitable change is on its way to you, whatever that may entail. And it might not necessarily be the most comfortable change. You could perhaps even see this coming and be worried about what this change will entail in all of its facets, but it is a change that is necessary. It is something that has to happen, and whether or not you can do anything about it, you need to be prepared for it, and particularly prepared to navigate it without losing any of yourself and being overwhelmed. Though I think perhaps your nervousness about this change could be what's overwhelming you. The inverted Fire King is an overbearing nature and perhaps a loss of control, unachievable expectation, and perhaps too impulsive of a nature as well. The inverted Priestess is losing touch with one's inner voice and one's intuition. You are perhaps letting too much of the noise around you distract you and overwhelm you, and so you can't quite get in touch with yourself to understand what is truly best for you and what are the best decisions to make. The Sea Kitten, in vast juxtaposition, is a card of delightful surprise, the inner child, and imagination. It urges you to allow your imagination to guide you toward your dreams and making them real. The runes perfectly coincide with all of this. Kenaz is a rune of control, and it urges you that in order to reestablish and maintain control, you need to be in touch with yourself and what you need and what you want at any given time. You need to take care of yourself and look within. Perthro wants you to focus on going with the flow. Don't try to resist change or fate or destiny if this is what you see it as. Don't fight too hard against it, but instead move with the current. Allow it to guide you naturally to where you are supposed to be, where you need to be, and to the things that you need to do. Get back in touch with that inner voice. Focus on doing the things you need to do to take the best care of yourself, not just physically and your literal needs, but mentally, creatively, spiritually. Make time and space to take care of yourself. Because if you are well grounded in being whole and establishing an equilibrium for yourself, you will better be able to navigate whatever changes death and destiny are bringing to you. The change needs to happen, but it doesn't need to be so scary and uncomfortable as you seem to be anticipating. Leo, you have drawn for Midsummer the Ace of Sea, the Sea Tom, the Six of Earth inverted, the Three of Sea inverted, and your Norse oracle is the Gjallarhorn. Like Cancer, Leo is on the verge of some sort of change. One cycle is ending and another is beginning. And this is a change that seems to very much be needed for you. The Ace of Sea itself and the Gjallarhorn both signify this new beginning. The Gjallarhorn was the horn that Heimdall sounded to signal the beginning of Ragnarok and the approach of the giants. In this case, it is heralding to you that there is an ending and a beginning beyond it coming to you. The Ace of Sea does indicate that there is new love or a new relationship in tow of this beginning. It's a new burst of creativity, cleansing and resetting of emotions as well. The Sea Tom is the Knight of Cups, and he is a card of romance and diplomacy. It's a card of seeing and recognizing beauty, art, and wonder all around you. The Six of Earth and the Three of Sea being inverted, however, seem to be what need to be left behind. Or the Six of Earth, inverted, indicates a concern over finances. There's a selfishness, a stinginess, or a concern with debt that is lingering. It needs you to balance how much you give and how much you receive in all of your relationships. The Three of Sea, likewise, needs you to balance how much time you're spending with others and how much time you spend on your own. You're either isolating yourself too much, or you're not letting yourself have enough time on your own to reflect on things. You're letting yourself be roped into whatever the group around you is doing or thinking or believing, and at some point, if you don't address it and make changes, that's going to lead to some serious ramifications. You might come to a point where you no longer can recognize where you stop and the group you're following starts. I suspect that, like Cancer, you are perhaps allowing the noise of the world around you to influence your mentality and your emotions a little too much. And you perhaps need to pull back, reflect, and take a look at your scenario without any of those outside noises. Really look at it from your own solitary perspective and let yourself reset and move forward with a little bit less noise when you're ready to do so. Virgo, you have drawn for Litha the Fire King, the Earth Queen, the Three of Earth, the Five of Earth in reverse, and your oracle card is the god Vali. The Fire King and Vali both are about examining the bigger picture of your situation and finding whatever means to overcome your obstacles. In particular, Vali is a very high energy approach to overcoming these obstacles. It's almost an energy of wanting to just crash straight through them instead of finding cunning ways around. You meet them head on and you destroy them. The Earth Queen is a card of financial stability and practicality and creature comfort. She takes the best care of herself that she can to ensure that she can continue to care for others around her whom she most cares for. The Three of Earth is a card of teamwork, collaboration, and building, reminding you that your success is not a solitary path. You will need to work with others to achieve what you are after, and likewise others might need to work with you to achieve their goals. The Five of Earth in reverse furthers this. It's a card of recovery, but it can also represent isolation. It reminds you that there is help and there are resources available to you to overcome your obstacles and get out of whatever slump you may be in. You simply need to reach out and ask. You need to make use of those resources instead of continuing to trudge forward believing you have to do it all on your own with what you currently have. The consensus is very clear in these cards that you are faced with obstacles right now in your path, and there are very clear ways that you can overcome them. You simply need to take the time to examine the best way past each one and not hesitate to take that option. Don't think about it too hard. Don't worry about nuances. Look at the obstacle, find the way through, and go. Libra, you have drawn the Fire Kitten inverted, the 7 of Sea in reverse, the 9 of Sea reversed, the 7 of Fire, and your oracle card is the goddesses Frigg and Freya. Libra is perhaps feeling trapped or directionless at this time for whatever reason, and it's led to confusion. It's led to behavior that is unlike you. The inverted 7 of Sea is temptation, diversion, or confusion. The 9, also inverted, is greed, smugness, or dissatisfaction. You are feeling stuck. You are feeling like you are perhaps trapped in some sort of cycle. And it's starting to weigh on you very, very heavily. The 7 of Fire and the Oracle card are your counsels here. The 7 of Fire is a card of standing your ground, defensiveness, maintaining control. It urges you to defend your boundaries without becoming desperate. The Frigg and Freya Oracle card is a card of balance, particularly balance within. Knowing when to be passive and reserved, knowing when to be wild and fierce and assertive. You, Libra, are the scales. Balance is kind of your shtick. So for something to knock you off of it, it must be significant. Until such time as you are able to break this cycle, your focus is on defending your boundaries, defending your beliefs, standing up for what you believe in and for those you care about, without being arrogant in the process. Don't become part of the problem as you defend yourself and others from this problem. Scorpio, you have pulled for Midsummer the 8 of Sea, the Priestess, the 10 of Sea inverted, the 6 of Fire, and your oracle cards are Veldismagen and Vegwisir. Your oracle cards, respectively, are a card of protection and a card of guidance. One is your shield and one is your compass. You are protected and you are guided by entities beyond the physical plane at this time. The Priestess is your means of listening and seeing and feeling these forces and allowing yourself to be protected and guided. That said, you have the 8 of Sea, which is a card of transition, of walking away from that which is no longer healthy or beneficial to yourself, particularly emotionally. It usually signifies walking away from and ending relationships that no longer serve you. The 10 of Sea works with this to indicate that there's some sort of relationship that is shattered, and it seems that it is perhaps best for you to cut all ties and walk away, rather than continuing to fight to keep this relationship, whatever it may be. The 6 of Fire, on the other hand, is a card of recognition, of victory, of celebration, in recognizing and walking away from this broken relationship that simply can go no further, and in really listening to your intuition and the voices that guide it. You are, on a personal level, succeeding. You are achieving a personal victory that will help push you forward with greater strength into achieving that which you currently have set out to do. Hold courage and know that as much as it may hurt to walk away from this relationship, it is for the better, and you do have support around you. Sagittarius, you have pulled for Litha. Cat Magic inverted, the Ace of Sky, the Earth Tom, the reversed Ace of Sea, and your oracle card is the god Tyr. Cat Magic in reverse indicates that you are feeling out of touch and are perhaps being deceived in some way, possibly by your own mind. The Ace of Sky is a renewed clarity, it's sharp mind, it is a breakthrough as well. The Earth Tom is dedication and hard work, the diligence to see something through no matter how long it takes, and to continue to do it correctly rather than cutting corners for the sake of expediency. The Ace of Sea, on the other hand, being inverted, is a card of wasted emotion, blocked creativity, or emptiness. Your mind is sharp and you are dedicated to your path, but I think perhaps you are feeling a little bit distraught. You've maybe been wrapped up in the tedium of continuing to work so hard toward this goal that the amount of time it's taking is perhaps starting to wear on you. You're starting to doubt yourself, whether you can actually achieve it. You are fully capable of achieving it. Cat Magic, regardless of its orientation, reminds you that ultimately all you truly need to achieve your goals is within you. You need to remind yourself of your full capability and potential. Remind yourself why you set out to achieve it. Go back to the plan you set out at the beginning. Go back to looking at it step by step. With that, Tyr is a card of sacrifice and of promises. oaths even. He asks you to think about what might need to be sacrificed for your greater good and for succeeding on your current path, and to consider which oaths most need to be held and kept to. My camera's not wanting to focus. I think you need to remind yourself of your why in this scenario. Why is this goal important to you? Why did you decide to pursue it? And what are you willing to let go of for the sake of this goal? Or alternatively, are you willing to let go of the goal for something else that you've realized is more important? Capricorn has drawn for the summer solstice the 5 of Earth, Good Kitty, 9 of Sky, Earth King in reverse, and your oracle cards are the god Thor and the sigil Kappa Loki. I think Capricorn is on the brink of something really, really good, but you haven't quite realized it yet. The 5 of Earth is a card of poverty, of need, destitution almost. It can also represent insecurity, and I think that might be a little bit more where you're sitting based on some of the other cards that are here. You should know that you won't be stuck in this feeling of destitution, this feeling of insecurity for too terribly much longer. There are resources available to you, there is help available to you, there are things working outside of what you maybe can currently see. Perhaps you've even already realized what's available to you, you just need to take hold of it, or someone else has realized that they can help you and they just haven't had the chance to actually enact that help. Good Kitty in this deck is the Judgment card. It's a card of awakening, of reflection, and it does urge you to reflect on how you've acted so far and everything you've gone through thus far. I think in this case to recognize just how far you've come and how much work you've done, so that you're not feeling like you've done absolutely nothing, like you're all the way back at square one, because you aren't. You're at square 15, 20, however long you've been working on this, you're so far along your path, but right now because of the goal you have in mind and how far away you feel from that goal, you feel you haven't really gone anywhere. And that's not the case. The 9 of Sky is a card of fear and anxiety. It's the kind of thing that might be keeping you up at night. You're possibly not sleeping well. You're not taking care of everything you need to take care of. You're perhaps feeling overwhelmed by it. And I think that's connected with this general concern that you haven't quite gotten far enough for your standard for yourself. And that brings us to the inverted Earth King, which is a card of greed, indulgence, and sensuality when it is inverted. It reminds you not to define your worth by what you accumulate, particularly if the opinions of others are kind of starting to cloud your judgment and make you feel that perhaps you haven't gone very far. You may even be holding on to past insecurities put on you by other people, and you've been working on trying not to frame your concept of success and achievement based on other people's versions of that, but you're still maybe struggling and wrestling with those feelings. You're trying to focus on going your own way and succeeding in the way that you see as best and that works for you, but some of that, similar to some of the other readings, some outside noise is maybe coming in and corrupting this process for you. Your counsels, besides Good Kitty, to let yourself wake up and really see the truth of how far you've come. So Thor is a card of strength and of fertility, and he wants you to take a moment to examine what tools you perhaps still need to find and use, and what strength may still be lying within you that you need to pull from in order to keep pushing forward on this path to better reach this goal and perhaps reach it a little faster than you've already been moving. Loki is a card of prosperity. It is telling you to continue forging your own path. Don't feel pressured to take the exact same steps that other people have taken just because it worked for them. You need to do what works for you. For whatever reason you've decided that this is the method and the path you need to take, you need to keep doing it instead of letting anything or anyone, including your own negative thoughts and self-doubt, convince you that you're completely off mark and you need to completely scrap what you're doing and follow someone else's goal. Do what is right for you and just keep pushing forward in spite of the anxiety, in spite of the noise, in spite of your insecurity. Keep pushing forward because you are on the brink of another breakthrough and another milestone. Aquarius, you have drawn for the solstice. 5 of Sea inverted, 10 of Fire, Fire Kitten, Sea Queen in reverse, 9 of Fire, Sky Tom, reversed, and your oracle card is Mjolnir. The inverted 5 of Sea tells me that you have finally reached a point where you are moving on from some sort of grief or major concern that has occurred. It could be something as simple as a heartbreak. Maybe you had to leave a job that you really didn't want to walk away from. It could be something more serious, like a severe breakup, or it could be that someone has passed. Whatever the case may be, you've been through some period of grief and you're starting to accept what has happened and recognize that not all is lost and the process of moving forward. And in that, you have the 10 of Fire, indicating that you have accomplished something significant in this. It is also a card of responsibility and burden, needing to recognize the responsibilities you have and not let those fall to the wayside just because you are grieving or recovering from whatever this was. You have the Fire Kitten, which is curious. It is exploration and discovery. The inverted Sea Queen indicates a need to set and maintain emotional boundaries. She's a card of coldness, and it's usually when someone who is very, very strong and in tune with emotions starts to use that emotion and compassion in ways that negatively affect not just herself but others. It can also be a card of overdependence on whatever it may be. It might be leaning too heavily on someone else. It could be overly depending on some sort of vice or creature comfort, and needing to make sure that you're reestablishing a balance. Because I could see that this maybe was a response to whatever this grief was, but now that you're moving forward, one of your steps is to reestablish boundaries and limits for yourself and not let anyone else step over those boundaries, not overstep your own structure that you're reestablishing. The 9 of Fire is a card of being at that last push. It's that last hour of the night before dawn, right? You are very, very close, similar to Capricorn, to some sort of a breakthrough, to reaching a milestone where you can't fall backward past it again, and you just need to summon that last bit of strength, that last bit of energy to keep pushing forward. The inverted Sky Tom is a card of lacking direction, disregarding consequence, or simply acting unpredictably and impulsively. It encourages you to embrace patience and thoughtfulness in your action. Be patient, be thoughtful, be very considerate of all of the potential consequences of your choices and your actions, not just how it affects you, but how it affects others as well. Particularly be careful of how you think, how you speak about yourself, to yourself, but also to others. All of that said, Mjolnir is Thor's hammer. It is a card of strength, of war, of destruction, but also of balance and harmony. It being the channel of lightning in the hands of the god of thunder represents this balance of these two very, very strong yet seemingly different forces. And it furthers the point that you need to reestablish an equilibrium and a balance. Make sure you're not overindulging in the things that help you feel comfortable and relax and de-stress from the toils of the day and whatever else is going on that perhaps is weighing on you. Likewise, don't linger too hard on the things that maybe beat you down throughout the day, because that very easily could overwhelm you. You overcorrect by relaxing too much and doing too much of the things that you enjoy. Then you end up feeling stressed and needing to push harder to get things done, and it's an endless cycle. Balance, harmony, making sure you're doing everything in moderation. Further, it, like several other cards or several of the other readings, wants you to look within for tools, skills, for talents and gifts that you perhaps have forgotten about or just haven't yet tapped into that could help you with navigating what you're currently dealing with. Reestablish that equilibrium and just keep pushing forward. Pisces, you have pulled for Litha, the 5 of Sky, the inverted 10 of Fire, the reversed Ace of Sky, Moon, Stars, the reversed Lovers, and your oracle card is the god Surtur. Pisces looks like they are burning a warpath for some reason right now. The 5 of Sky is unbridled ambition, a need to win at all cost, or sneakiness. The inverted 10 of Fire is an inability to delegate and a lack of priority. The inverted Ace of Sky is confusion, brutality, chaos, The moon is illusion and further confusion from that. The inverted lovers is everything being one-sided, disharmonious. It feels like Pisces is really desperate for something, and I don't know what it is. I feel you are risking, by blazing forward so hard through this scenario, you are risking burning bridges that cannot be rebuilt, and perhaps burning yourself more severely than you are prepared to deal with. I think you are very, very one-track minded right now, and yeah, it's going to push people away. It's going to destroy yourself and cause a lot more harm than I think you've anticipated. I think Surtur is a further embodiment of this. He is representative of creating through destroying. You must burn away a dead field in order to revitalize and remineralize the soil so that crops can grow again. However, you must also monitor and control that blaze so that it does not leap to other fields that are still healthy. You don't want to burn away more than what is necessary. Passion is fine until it becomes unrelenting obsession. And I think Stars is your one guiding light here. Stars is a card of hope, of faith. It is usually the card that follows the Tower in the major arcana. It is that first light of dawn after a particularly dark night, the first bloom of spring after a harsh winter. I think you perhaps need to remind yourself, like a few of the other signs, why you're doing this. I think you need to reframe your focus about what you're doing and why, to focus on your positive reasons, your positive goals, and the good that you are trying to do for yourself or others on this path, rather than focusing so hard on what you're trying to break. Because breaking molds or breaking traditions is necessary at times, but perhaps instead you should focus on what you're trying to build rather than what you're trying to destroy. Again, so you don't end up just razing everything to the ground and taking yourself down with it. Focus on the positive rather than what you hate. Aries, you have pulled the Sea King inverted, Four of Fire, Sky Queen, the inverted Hermit, and your oracle card is the rune Thurisaz. The Sea King, when inverted, is a card of moodiness and manipulation, and it indicates that something has affected you emotionally, where you are being cruel to yourself and to others, and you are focused a bit too much on what you can get out of situations and out of people, rather than being kind and compassionate to other people. The Four of Fire, in vast juxtaposition, is a card of happiness. It is a card of community, home, and gathering. It often gets conflated with marriage as well, but it reminds you that you do deserve to celebrate your accomplishments. Likewise, the Sky Queen is a card of clear mind. She's complex and she's perceptive, and she accepts that often wisdom can come at a bit of an emotional cost, but it is wisdom that must be learned nonetheless. It seems perhaps you've accomplished something and you've learned things on this path, and you're perhaps trying to deal with the ramifications of what you've accomplished and what you've learned, and whether or not you feel proud of all of it. And I think you are perhaps letting it weigh too heavily on your mind and starting to feel like it may not have been worth it. But you still accomplished something. Your bigger issue, though, indicated by the inverted Hermit, is you are focusing on this by yourself too much. You have withdrawn and isolated yourself for too long, and thus you're stuck in a cycle of being in your own head, and you're letting your doubt constantly convince you that it wasn't worth it. Why did you bother? Look what happened. You're not letting other people who care about you help you celebrate what you have accomplished. So it's time to come out of that isolation and let yourself be part of the world again. Stop letting your head convince you that your friends only care about you for how much worth you can produce in your life and how much you can accomplish in certain ways. Your friends are not your friends just because of how nice of a house you have, or how fulfilling of a job you have, or whether you're married and have kids by a certain age. They're your friends because they like you. And if they're actually good friends, they don't care about the status things. If they do care about the status things more than just being your friend, they're not good friends, and they shouldn't be in your life to begin with. Your friends want to know what you're doing. They care. Come back out of this isolation and talk to them and show them. However silly it might feel to you to talk about even the small accomplishments and goals that you've achieved, you do need to talk to people. You can't just go it alone constantly 24/7. Thurisaz is a rune of Thor. It's a rune of protection. It is also warning you to be careful about how you use the gifts and the skills that you possess. Particularly be careful with your words toward yourself. Be careful with your thought patterns, especially on your own. You have basically the reverse issue of several of the other readings. Instead of having too much outside noise, you don't have enough. You've been stuck inside your own head with only one voice for far too long, and it's starting to go stale. Come back into the world, come back to your friends and your family. Talk to them and let them remind you how much you are loved and how many people are cheering you on to achieve all of your dreams. Taurus, you have drawn for Litha, the Ace of Sky in reverse, the Six of Sea, the inverted Five of Fire, the Earth Kitten, inverted Cat Magic, and your oracle cards are Loki and Sleipnir. The inverted Ace of Sky, or Ace of Swords, is confusion, brutality, chaos. I think it is perhaps the confusion and the chaos more so. You are feeling confused and you're feeling a little out of sorts and unable to establish a true order to everything. The Six of Sea is a card of happiness, nostalgia, reunion, looking back on things with fondness. I think that perhaps is something that can help you to sort of reorient and reestablish some order and some control. You have the inverted Five of Fire, which is an avoidance of conflict. And I think maybe you're trying to avoid conflict too much, or you could perhaps need to avoid some of the conflict you're dealing with. I think it's the first one more so. You're trying too hard to avoid some of the conflict and confrontation that is naturally going to come up as you're doing things. You have the Earth Kitten, which is a card of dreams, enthusiasm, and new opportunity. Indicates that diligence and attention to detail and to the process will be rewarded. Cat Magic inverted is another card indicating some confusion, trickery, and self-doubt. Most often is what I attribute it to. I think this confusion you are dealing with the inverted Ace of Sky is coming from some doubt in your ability to not only reach your goal, but to overcome any obstacles you may face, particularly from other people. You're concerned about dealing with any conflicts or disagreements with others, and so you would just rather not deal with them, and thus you're stunting your own progress. You're doubting whether you'll be able to navigate those conversations well, however comfortable or uncomfortable they may be. It seems that you need to reestablish your enthusiasm for this goal, and perhaps look back on previous accomplishments and milestones and goals and everything you've accomplished up till now. Consider perhaps if you've been through a scenario in the past similar to what you may be faced with now. How did you deal with it then? Did it work out? If it did, try that approach again. And this is furthered by your two oracle cards. The god Loki is a trickster, but he is also an initiator. He is often at the forefront of a lot of the stories from Norse myth, and often is the cause of them. And in that, he is asking you to consider how your actions and your words can inspire progress and continue making progress on your goal. Sometimes it might have to be you that starts some of these conversations that gets you past your obstacles. Sleipnir is asking you to look at all of the ways in which you are different and unique from other people, and how you can harness that uniqueness, harness those differences, again, to continue your progress, to continue keeping you enthusiastic and continue your journey in creating whatever it is you're trying to build. Stop shying away from the obstacles and the conflicts because you're scared that you won't be able to overcome them. Figure out all the strengths you have that could help you overcome them, and that will perhaps inspire you to understand that just because I'm worried about the outcome doesn't mean I shouldn't try. And last but certainly not least is Gemini, who have pulled for Midsummer. Death in reverse, Nine of Earth in reverse, the Tower in reverse, the Priestess, and your oracle is the Sigil of Valknut. Gemini is hardcore avoiding some sort of change that needs to happen. You have death and the Tower inverted. There's a shift that needs to occur, and you know better than anybody else that this shift needs to happen. But you're scared of it. You're avoiding it. You're, I think, afraid of all of the other things that might change that you don't feel ready for if this one major change occurs. And if you keep avoiding it, it's only gonna hit harder. The Nine of Earth inverted also indicates that you are obsessed with work and a lot of the setbacks that have occurred. You're too concerned with your mistakes. And I think perhaps that is part of why you're afraid of this change. You are so focused on the mistakes that you've made and the obstacles you have to face, you're doubting whether you can get past it, just like some of the other signs and in some of the other readings. You are so afraid that the outcome is not going to work in your favor, that you're trying to avoid having to move forward any further. You know what needs to change, you know what you need to do to get past your obstacles, but you're too afraid of making a mistake. The Priestess is reminding you that as long as you are staying true to yourself and your goal and why you are pursuing it, and you continue listening to your intuition for how to navigate toward that goal, you cannot truly go wrong. Focus on the heart of it and focus on what is the priority here. Valknut wants you to examine the life you're living and how you're living it. Look at the kind of life you are living right now, the kind of life you are after. Figure out what you need to do to achieve that change and do it. Not perhaps without fear, but without hesitation. You can still do things while being afraid of doing them. The problem comes when you let your fear stop you. Further, Valknut wants you to really think about how you can consciously decide to make time and priority of the things that matter most to you. And if this goal matters to you, then you will find the time and the energy and the courage to do all of the things that need to be done, however scared you might be while doing them. And there we have our 12 horoscopes for the season of Midsummer for 2025. I hope you have found any guidance you need for the season. Herein, in at least one of the readings, I do remind you to please take what resonates and leave the rest. Remember to watch through all of the readings as well, because one that does not pertain to your sun sign could actually be the one that you most need at this time. I wish you all the best, that the light and warmth of the sun and the summer can bring you in this season, and I will have more readings for you at the first harvest of Lunaea on August 1st. Blessed Litha. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you know where all of the buttons and the links are to show me that love, and you can find more content like this tarot video in the divination playlist linked in the cards and in the description below. If you would like to keep up with my adventures on other social media planes, you can also find my Linktree portal in the description for access to my Facebook page, Instagram account, and my own website. As always, I would like to give a huge special thanks to my coven of patrons who have been my longest supporters, and if you, dear viewers, would like to join their ranks, again, check that Linktree for my Patreon, which begins at $1 per month. Thanks again, stay tuned for more Breath of the Wild VODs, a Level Up Expo haul, some additions to the Sybil Rochester garb, and some very special travel vlogs coming up, some surprise ones, and I shall speak to you all again very soon. Keep aiming, my loves. Happy summer!